Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Ben Natan, founder and co-artistic director of No Exit Theater Collective. Tonight, as part of our fortnightly reading series, we will travel into the world of Greek tragedy with Euripides Iphigenia in Aulis, translated by George Theodoridis. Throughout history, we have always told ourselves a story about why we go to war. We use sweeping rhetoric about foreign enemies who need to be slayed while repeating myths of our own national greatness. But do we ever wonder the cost? The real human cost of war. Building up to one of the most famous wars across history, one general considers this. That general, Agamemnon, is faced with that cost personified in the sacrifice of his own daughter. In line with the theme of that play, 20% of No Exit's tip jar will go to the Zakat Foundation of America. ZFA is currently doing important work providing aid to hospitals and communities in Yemen. Yemen is currently under siege by a coalition of nations, including Saudi Arabia and the United States, and is on the brink of one of the largest mass deaths since the Holocaust. While action to end this violence must involve our elected officials, we at No Exit want to provide the resources we can as a show of solidarity. You can support our tip jar on Venmo at noexit-TC, and the remaining funds are split equally among contributing artists. Before we introduce the actors, I would like to offer some special thanks. I emailed George Theodoridis about his magnificent translation a few weeks ago, and we proceeded to have a rich back and forth over email about the play, its history, and its meaning, both personally and broadly. I want to thank George not only for his permission to use this play, but also for his openness and enthusiasm to share his thoughts. Thoughts I hope we have honored with this reading. I would also like to thank Tessa Ramirez Keough and Ben Natan for their consulting on the language in this play. Also, Daisy Phillips, our technical director this evening, for stepping in a pinch to help make this reading possible. Finally, a special thank you to our editorial director, Ryan Salzano, who has built out a beautiful newsletter and central publication for No Exit, which you can find and sign up for on at noexit.substack.com. This will provide important updates about the work we are doing, as well as exciting insights from our creative team. Tonight, we are a chorus of actors. Each actor is playing a named character as well as part of a classic Greek chorus. You will see actors in a base costume as they are the chorus, with added pieces as they switch into their characters. Feel free to stick around after the show for a Q&A with the whole creative team. Now, enough talk from me. Let's hear from the actors.
Hello, my name is RJ Christian, he, him, his, and I'll be portraying Agamemnon, the king of Mycenae and the leader of the Greek army.
My name is Benjamin Pratt. I will be playing Menelaos, Agamemnon's brother, king of Sparta and husband of Helen of Troy.
Hello, my name is Heidi Tolson. My pronouns are she, her, they, them. I have no preference, and I will be playing Klytaimestra, who is Agamemnon's wife, the mother of Iphigenia, and queen of Mycenae.
Hi, my name is Nicole, Pelini. I will be playing Iphigenia, Agamemnon and Clytaimestra's oldest daughter.
Hello, my name is Noah Barson. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I'll be playing Achilles, war hero of Greece, captain of the Myrmidons.
Hi, my name is Daniel Cabrera. He, him, his pronouns. I will be playing the old man, Clytaimestra, and Agamemnon's loyal servant.
Hello, my name is Claire Tumey. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'll be playing the messenger, a page tasked with delivering critical news around the military camp.
Hi, and I'm Tessa Ramirez Keough. My pronouns are she, her, and they, them, no preference, and I will be your swing tonight. So if any of these actors have the unfortunate mishap of a technological issue, I will step in for them.
at the camp of the Greek army. We are in front of Agamemnon's lavish tent, which has two entrances, one of which is the larger and used only by Agamemnon and his family. His servants use the other. In front of the tent is a small table at which sits Agamemnon. There's a small oil lamp on the table as well as various writing implements. He's writing a letter on a scroll, an exercise which it seems is difficult for him. He writes a few words, then scratches them out and begins again. At one point, he is satisfied with what he has written, seals it with his ring, but then, a moment later, he scratches away the seal and rereads the letter. Later, he becomes so angry that he picks up the wooden frame upon which the scroll rests and throws it violently to the ground. His head falls into his arms and he begins sobbing. Finally, he picks up the scroll and gets up and moves away from the table. He walks slowly about the stage for a moment, anxiously searching the starry sky, just before dawn. Hey, old man. Old man, come out here in front of the tent.
I'm coming, my lord. I'm coming. What's in your mind this time, my lord Agamemnon?
Come on, hurry up.
I'm hurrying, my lord. I'm hurrying. Old age. It has burdened me with lack of sleep and overactive eyes.
Come. Look up there. What star could that be? That one. Gliding across the sky.
With that? That's Cyrus, my lord. It's going past those 7 stars, the Pleiades, my lord. Straight through the very center of the heavens.
Not a sound to be heard anywhere, old man. Not from any bird, not from the sea, not from any of the winds that rule over the waters between us and Epirus. Total silence.
So, my lord, why on earth are you wandering about here, then? The whole city of Aulis is quiet, and the guard on the walls has yet to change. Come, my lord, let's go back inside.
I envy you, old man. I envy the man with the quiet life, the safe life. I envy the man who knows no fame, and I don't envy the man whose life is heavy with the trappings of office.
But surely, my lord, it is there, in the trappings of office and power, that we find pleasure.
Pleasure. Pleasure, my old friend, is a dubious thing, an unstable thing. For as all the trappings of office, all the power that goes with it, sure, they might look sweet from a distance, but once you get them, they become unbearable pains. There are times when the gods shun you, reject you, thwart your every effort, and there are times, too, when the whining and the moaning of your own men crush you.
I don't approve of words like these coming out of the mouths of leaders. Your father, my lord, Atreus, didn't bring you into this world so that you may taste only its pleasures. My lord, no, he gave you life so that you may understand pain, as well as pleasure. You too, my lord, are a mortal, and whether you like it or not, this is how the gods want it. Mortals must taste the good along with the bad. But I see a letter in your hand. I saw you trying to write it by the light of the lamp there. You write down some words, then you scratch them out, and then you write other words in their place, and then you seal the letter, and then you scratch away the seal, and then you throw its pine frame onto the ground, and then you begin to cry profusely. This is desperate behavior, my lord, and it leaves no doubt to anyone who sees that you, my lord, have gone mad. What has brought on this anxiety? Come, tell me, share your story with me. You will be doing so to a man who's loyal and faithful to you. Your old father-in-law, Tyndareus, gave me to your wife, Clytaimestra, as part of her dowry to be her loyal servant.
My old friend, Theseus' daughter, Leda, had 3 daughters, Phoebe, Clytaimestra, my wife, and Helen. This last one, Helen, had received the most famous, the greatest sons of the whole of Hellas as her suitors. Ferocious threats of murder were uttered by those who had missed out on her. Tyndareus, her father, was in a dreadful dilemma. Should he allow her daughter to marry or not? What would be the best action for him to take? Finally, my old friend, he came upon the answer. The suitors should all swear a solemn oath by giving their right hand and making sacred sacrifices that each and every one of them would defend the man who won Helen's hand in marriage, no matter who that would be, and to come to his aid in case someone stole her from their home and thus deprived that man of his legal conjugal bed. And they should also swear that they would attack and destroy the land of the man whose his legal conjugal destroy the land of the man of the wrongdoer by force of arms, whether his hand is Greek or foreign. Once the wise old Tyndareus had conceived them all to take these oaths, he allowed his daughter to choose the suitor she liked, and Helen allowed herself to be guided by the sweet, lusty sighs of Aphrodite in her heart. Well, Helen, unfortunately, old man, chose Menelaos. After that, Paris, the man who, according to legend, judged the 3 goddesses, Hera, Aphrodite, and Athena for their beauty, arrived at Sparta. He came all the way from Troy, dressed in his colorful garb, typical of the barbarian's love for splendor. His whole body was sparkling with gold jewels. Helen fell in love with him, and he fell in love with Helen. The opportunity was made for him to elope with her, since Menelaos was absent at the time. Paris took it and carried her off back to his own home in Ida, a place where the cows graze in luxurious pastures. Well, old man, Menelaos was outraged by this. In his frenzy, he rushed about the whole of Greece, calling upon everyone to remember Tyndareus' solemn oaths and to help him since he was the wronged husband. And that's why the whole of Greece rose up in arms with great fervor. They picked up their spears, strapped on their armor, and rushed over here in Aulis with ships, troops, and a huge number of horses and chariots. I, being Menelaus' brother, and for his own good, was chosen by them to be their leader. How I wish this honor was given to someone else, my old friend. So we have all gathered here, and here we are still, tied down by the weather. After a while, Calchas, our prophet, came up to us and suggested, much to our dismay, that we should sacrifice my own daughter Iphigenia to the goddess Artemis, whose shrine is in these parts. He announced that if we did make the offering to the goddess, we would be able to sail away and we would succeed in the sacking of the Phrygian capital, Troy. Otherwise, we would fail. Well, this got me so angry that the very next moment I ordered Talthybius to use his powerful voice and call the army to disband. I was not going to slaughter my old daughter, old man. That I could never do. But my brother, using all sorts of arguments, finally persuaded me to commit this dreadful deed. I wrote a letter to my wife, Clytaimestra. I told her to bring our daughter here so that she may marry Achilles. It was a lie. In it, I spoke of Achilles' high rank, his bravery, his honor, and told her that the man refused to sail with us unless one of our daughters became his wife and went to live at his house in Phthia. And it was with this lie about the girl's mock marriage that I tried to persuade my wife to bring her here. The only other Greeks who know about this are Calchas, Odysseus, and Menelaos. Well, old man, I've reconsidered all those dreadful decisions I've made back then, and I wrote another letter in which I was correcting them. This is a letter which you saw me writing in the dark, opening it and shutting it, laboring over it. Here, take it now and carry it over to Argus. Now, I'll tell you everything I've written in this folded scroll because you are a true and loyal servant to my house and to my wife.
Yes. Tell me so that what I say to your wife agrees with what you've written here.
The words I've written here, old man, are these. Leda's daughter, Clytaimestra, I'm sending you a second letter to replace the first. Do not send our daughter here in Aulis, the place whose harbors are well protected from the harsh seas and which juts out towards Colchis. We shall make the wedding celebrations another time.
But how will Achilles take this? Will he not get furious with you and with your wife if you deprive him of his bride? This is very dangerous indeed, my lord. Please tell me what to say to your wife.
Achilles is acting in name only and not in deed. He knows nothing of my scheme, nothing of the marriage, and nothing of my supposed wish to give my daughter to him, to have her take into his arms and into his marital bed.
You have dared to do a most frightening thing, my lord Agamemnon. You have declared the girl to be the bride of a goddess's son, yet you bring her here to be a sacrificial offering for the benefit of the Greeks.
I was out of my wits, old man, out of my senses. But go! Go now! Run! Forget your old age and run!
Yes, my king, I shall run.
And when you come across some fork in the road, check it carefully. See that there are no wheel marks on the road. They might be from the wagon that is bringing the girl here, to the Greek ships.
I'll do that, my lord.
And if she has already left the safety of her home, and if you chance to meet her retinue on the road, send them back again. Take the reins from their hands and hasten the horses towards the shrines of Cyclops.
And, my lord, if I say all of these things you've just told me, will your daughter and your wife believe me?
Make sure you don't break the seal of the scroll. Now go! Look, dawn's light is already being taken over by the fire of the sun's brilliant chariots. Go! Accomplish your tasks, old man.
Yes.
No man is blessed or happy forever. No one was ever born to a life free of misery.
We have left behind our land, Colchis, a land washed by the salty waters of glorious Arethusa, and we've traveled through the narrow straits of Euripides to come here, to Aulis, to this sandy peninsula.
We have come to watch the army of the divine Greeks and their 1,000 ships.
Our husbands told us they are all gathered here under the helm of Agamemnon and his fair-haired brother Menelaos, noblemen both, preparing to launch an expedition against Troy.
They're off to bring back Helen, Menelaos' wife, whom Paris, the Trojan cowherd, abducted from her home in Sparta, a city built by the reed-covered banks of the river Euripides.
Helen was given as a gift to Paris by Aphrodite one day, when near the cool springs, she won the beauty contest from her rivals, Hera and Pallas Athena.
I sped through Artemis's woods, a place rich with sacrifices, my youthful shyness blushing my cheeks, anxious to see the army's might, the tents of the Greeks and their countless horses.
And there I saw the two Ajaxes sitting together, Oileus' son and the son of Telamon, the crown of Salamis and Protesilaus and Palamedes, whose father is Poseidon's son. They were sitting together on stools, joyfully immersed in a game of draughts, a game full of complex moves.
Diomedes, too, was there, amusing himself throwing a discus, and next to him was Myranes, son of Ares, a marvel to all men. And Odysseus, Laertes' son, who came from the hills of his island of Ithaca. Next to him was Nereus, first among the Greeks in beauty.
And fast-footed Achilles, too, whose feet fly faster than the wind. He's the son of the goddess Thetis, and his tutor was Chiron, the most honorable of all the centaurs.
We saw him racing in full armor upon the shells of the shore in a contest against a chariot pulled by a team of 4 horses, a contest out of which he came victorious. Eumulus, Fierce's grandson, was the driver of the chariot who, with a goad in his hand, he urged on and shouted at his beautiful steeds, whose reins were a work of wondrous design, wrought in lustrous gold.
Well, the two steeds in the center, those that took the weight of the yoke, were dappled with spots of white, and the two on the outside carried the traces, and they had to negotiate the turns on the track. Those two had hair the color of fire, and were spotted from below the ankles of their great hooves. And there, alongside them, ran Achilles, Peleus' son, in his full armor. He kept pace with the rail and with the wheels of the chariot.
I came to take a look at the great number of ships, a sight most pleasant and most able to satisfy my girlish eyes. What a sweet joy.
The right wing of the naval force was taken up by the 50 swift ships of the war-loving Myrmidons. From Phthia, at the tip of their sterns stood the golden statue of the Nereids, the emblem of Achilles' army.
Moored next to them was an equal number of Argive ships, headed by the two chiefs, Euryalus, the son of Mecisteus, who was raised by his grandfather Teleus and Thales, Capenius' son. Next to these were the Athenian ships, 60 of them, and these were captained by Theseus' son.
Their emblem was the goddess Pallas Athena, standing on a chariot pulled by winged horses, an emblem that pleased and encouraged the sailors. I also saw the Boeotian fleet, 50 in number, led by Laetus, a mortal born of the earth. And these ships, too, were adorned with emblems at their high sterns, this time of Cadmus, holding a golden serpent in his hands.
Ships from Phocis and Locris were also there in similar numbers, and their captain was Oileus, whose city is the famous Thronian.
Atreus' son, Menelaos, brought with him from Mycenae, the city built by the Cyclopes, 100 ships, and all the sailors to man them. With him was also his close friend, Adrastus, their commander, ready to exact vengeance for Hellas' sake against the woman who fled her husband's halls so as to marry a barbarian.
And I saw the Durranian Nestor, who came from Pylus. On the stern of his ships was an emblem portraying a river Alpheus, his neighbor, who, on that emblem, was given 4 feet and made to look like a bull. The Aenians brought 12 ships, captained by their king, Gaunius, and beside them were moored the lords of Elis, whom everyone called Epeans.
Their captain was Euripides. The fleet of the war-loving Taphians with its foaming oars was commanded by their king, Phyleus' son, Magus, who had left the Echini islands that are far too unwelcoming for sailors.
The left flank of the Greek armada ended with the 12 trim and fast ships led by Ajax, whose birthplace is Salamis.
This is the naval force I saw with my own eyes, and about which I had heard earlier. If any barbarian dared to bring his ships against these, he'd never see his home again. So this is the armada I saw here, and about which I had heard back home earlier.
Menelaos! Oh, this is a terrible thing you're doing. How dare you? No, you shouldn't do that. Don't.
Leave! Go away, old man! You are overdoing your loyalty to your master.
You should not have opened this letter.
And you should not be bringing so much trouble to the Greeks.
We'll argue with others about that. Now let go of my letter.
No, I will not.
If you do not let it go,
Shall I
Nor
crack
will I.
open with this staff?
Dying for my master will be a glorious thing.
Let go. For a slave, you'd have just too much to say.
Agamemnon! Master! Come out! We've been robbed, my lord! This man has forcefully and unjustly ripped your letter from my hands, my lord.
What? What is all this loud brawling in front of my tent?
Listen to me, Agamemnon. I have greater right to speak than he does.
Menelaos, why are you arguing with this man? Why all this violence?
See this? See this letter, this contemptible letter with the contemptible message inside it.
Yes, I see it, and before you start, you'd better give it back to me.
No, not before I tell all the Greeks what it says.
So you broke its seal and read its contents. These are things you should know nothing about.
Yes, you may well suffer now because I did break your seal, and yes, I do know the secret trickery you were concocting.
By the gods! Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Where did you catch him?
I was waiting to see if your daughter would leave August to come to the army camp.
What? Who gave you the right to spy upon my affairs? What a disgraceful behavior!
Who gave me the right? My curiosity. Do you think I'm some slave of yours?
This is scandalous! Am I not allowed to manage the affairs of my own home in my own way now?
No, you're not. Because the workings of your mind always have been, are now, and always will be deceitful.
An eloquent covering of a shameful act. Eloquence, brother, begets hatred.
Yes, but an unstable mind is an evil thing. Something which befuddles the minds of one's friends. Let me tell you of your faults, Agamemnon, and I'll list them all if you don't start getting angry or begin to deny them. Believe me, I won't be exaggerating. You know very well how humble you were during the days you wanted to be the leader of the Trojan expedition. Well, you pretended you didn't want the job, but you did. You'd greet anyone and everyone, hoping with this behavior to gain their approval and thus become their leader. Then, the moment you became one, all this nice behavior changed and you had turned your back on all your friends. You locked yourself up indoors and became totally unapproachable to everyone. A good man, my brother, must not change his manner just because his life is going well. Now, that was the first of my complaints against your character. Then you arrived here in Aulis with the whole of the Greek army, and immediately you lost every virtue you had. You became a nobody. The gods deserted you, and they wouldn't give you a favorable wind for our sails. You were totally bewildered by the change of your luck. And so, the Greeks ordered you to let them board their ships and go back home and stop wasting their efforts here. Well, the looks your face took up at that suggestion. What shall I do now, you asked me. You were terrified of losing face and authority. Calchas gave you the answer, and you jumped for joy when he told you that the Greeks would be able to sail for Troy only after you had sacrificed your daughter to Artemis. You were only too glad to take up that offer, too glad to commit the girl to the goddess. Then, without anyone forcing you, totally of your own accord, and don't claim it wasn't, you had sent a letter to your wife to bring Iphigenia here, in the pretense that she'd be marrying Achilles. You, Agamemnon, are doing what countless others have also done in public life. While they're in power, they put up enormous efforts to keep it, but when the public makes a stupid decision, sometimes understandably so because the leader is too weak to lead the state, these public figures fall all in a heap and disgrace themselves. The true leader of a city and of an army is not merely brave, but intelligent. Intelligence, brother, can turn any man into a head of state.
What an awful thing it is for brothers whose views to differ to come to insults.
And now it's my turn to criticize you, but no, I won't do it in some arrogant, contemptuous way with my eyes looking down on you. But I shall do so in a conciliatory, brotherly way. A sensible man usually speaks to others with respect. So tell me, my brother, what is all this violent fury? What's with this flushed face of yours? Who's done you wrong, and what is it that you want? Is it a good wife you're after? Don't look at me for that. I can't give you one. You already had one, and you couldn't control her. It's not my fault she left you for another man, so why should I pay for your mistakes? And then am I mad if I had changed my mind about something which I later realized was wrong? No, it's not me who's gone mad, brother, but you. You're the one, after all, even though the gods have helped you rid yourself of a bad wife. There you are, still intent on getting her back. So now go on, take them all. Take all these lunatics, all these soldiers, and lead them on an expedition. The gods are no fools, and they know when oaths are falsely pledged or forced upon people. And no, I will not murder my children, and certainly won't do it so you can wrongfully enjoy some sort of vengeance exacted from a disgraceful wife while I waste away in tears day and night because I had committed some godless crime against them, against my own flesh and blood. My words were brief, blunt, and clear. If you're wise, you'll heed them, and if not, I have no fear. I know how to settle my own affairs well.
Different words now, but better. It's good that the children will be spared.
Gods! Have I no friends then?
Of course you do, so long as you don't try to ruin them.
How else then can you, Agamemnon, prove that we are brothers? How can you prove that you and I have the same father? Brothers must share each other's pain.
Call on me when you want me to do something reasonable, not when you want to ruin me.
And what about Greece? Do you not want to fight for her?
I would, but some god has made both you and Greece insane!
Enjoy the glory of your scepter, then! You have betrayed your own brother. I shall look elsewhere for friends and help.
Agamemnon, leader of all the Greeks, I have brought with me your daughter, Iphigenia, and her mother, your wife, Clytaimestra, as well as your young son, Orestes. They should bring you great joy after such a long absence from your home. But alas, the road is long, my lord, and so the women are now having a rest by the refreshing waters of the spring. The news spread quickly, and so the whole army already knows that your daughter has arrived. They've all rushed over here to see her. The soldiers talk and they ask questions. What's going on? Some of them ask, and others, is there going to be a wedding? Yet others again, did the king call his daughter here because he's missed her? Then there were others who said the girl will be presented to the goddess Artemis, protector of Aulis, before the wedding. I wonder who her groom is. Come then, Lord Agamemnon, make a start on the celebrations. Gather the baskets for the sacrifices. Place the wreaths on your head. You too, Menelaos. Get everything ready for this joyous occasion, and let's hear the flutes sing and the dancers pound the earth with their feet. This is a happy day for Iphigenia.
Thank you, friend. Now go inside, my good man, and everything will happen according to the will of fate. What shall I say to my wife, then? With what face shall I receive hers? Her unexpected arrival has added to my ruin. New troubles are now added upon those I'm already suffering. Yet it is right. She should come with her sweet daughter to give her away as a bride. Ah, and that's when she'll discover my treachery! Poor, sweet, young girl. But why girl? Why not call her a woman? Will she not be made Hades' bride soon? Oh, my girl. How I pity you. How I cry for you. Oh, my baby boy, Orestes will also be there, and he too will cry. His baby sounds will make no sense, but they'll be full of meaning. Paris! You are the cause of it! What ruin, what catastrophe you brought upon me by running off with Helen!
I too feel pity for you. If it is at all proper for a foreigner to feel the pity for the plight of kings.
Brother, give me your right arm.
Here, Menelaos. You win. I cry.
Tears of pity came into my eyes just now, when I saw your own tears roll from yours. I've changed my mind, brother. I no longer want to be your enemy. I'll now stand by you, and so I advise you not to kill your daughter, or put my own interests before yours. It is unjust that you should be mourning while I'm living a life full of joy. It is unjust that your children should die while mine still enjoy the sunlight. Gods forbid that I should choose to lose a brother to win a Helen. Did I exchange the good for bad? I acted like a stupid child before, But now I thought more deeply about what it's really like to kill your own children. Come, disband the army and leave Aulis, my brother, and stop your tears and mine. If the oracle has given me some say into your daughter's fate, then I pass that say over to you. I'll have none of it. I've changed, you'll say. Gone are the harsh words suddenly. That's true. I've changed, and I've changed because I love you, brother. I've changed because of my love for my mother's son. It's a natural thing for men with decent hearts to do the decent thing.
Honorable words, Menelaos.
Words worthy of Tantalus, Zeus's son.
Words that will not shame your ancestors.
I praise you, Menelaos, for these unexpected words. I hate such relationships. They bring bitter pain to all. But my brother, we can do nothing now but go on with the bloody murder of my darling daughter.
Why is that? Who on earth could force you to murder your own child?
The entire Greek army, Menelaos!
No. They can do nothing if you secretly send her back to Argos.
Sure, that I can certainly do secretly, but there's something else, brother. There's something I certainly cannot hide.
And what would that be? Don't be so afraid of the masses.
A thought just occurred to me, a thought which might frighten you, Menelaos.
Tell it and I'll see.
Sisyphus' son, Odysseus, knows our whole story.
Odysseus will give us no trouble.
Odysseus hath a shifty mind, and he's a rabble-rouser.
True. He too loves glory. Dreadful sickness.
Can you not see him standing in the midst of all the Greeks, telling them about Calchas' prophecies and about how I have promised to sacrifice my daughter to Artemis, but went back on my word? He'll have the army eating out of his hand and make them kill us and sacrifice the girl anyway. And if I tried to run off to Argos, the whole lot of them will come over and destroy the place, raze the whole city to the ground, Cyclopean walls and all. That's what I'm afraid of. See what troubles the gods have thrown at me, the poor wretch. Be careful of one thing, Menelaos. Be careful when you're walking among the men not to let Clytaimestra find out about the sacrifice. At least not until after I've sent my daughter to Hades. This way, I hope my pain will be lessened a little. And you foreign ladies, say nothing about this.
Joy will come to those who share their marriage bed with the calm of Aphrodite's love, and not with the frenzy of Eros' stinging arrows.
This god with the golden hair, lifts his bow and shoots 2 arrows of passion, one to bring life's greatest joy, the other to send us into a whirlwind of confusion.
It is wise to be modest, because modesty gives you the rare gift of circumspection, the ability to judge what is right, what is your duty, an ability that will give you respect and will remain with you forever. And it is a great thing to follow the footprints of virtue like a hunter follows the footprints of his prey.
Women protected well by avoiding immoderate love, and men by bringing civil order to their city, thus making it great.
There you were, Paris, a man brought up to be a cowherd, looking after the grazing white cows of Ida with their heavy udders, playing Asian tunes in your reedy pipes, airs much like those Trojan songs from Mount Olympus, when, suddenly, you had to judge between 3 goddesses. And it was this judging that has sent you to Helen's ivory palace in Hellas.
Once there, a maddened gaze of love from each of you had sent you both into Eros' confusion, and sent Greece to Troy with strife-searching ships and spears. Great is the joy of the great.
Look there. Our lord's daughter Iphigenia, our princess, is here, and there his wife, and Tyndareus' daughter, our lady Clytaimestra.
They are the offspring of a great and most fortunate family. To the lowly and weak mortals, the fortunate always appear like gods.
Come, children of Caucasus, let us go and give the Argive queen a gentle and firm hand to help her step down safely from her carriage, and let us look welcoming towards Agamemnon's glorious daughter, lest she be afraid of having arrived here at this place and at this time. And let us also make sure that the Argive women feel no distress or concern for being strangers in a strange place.
I take your kind welcome and gracious words as a sign of good omen. I have brought this bride here with strong hopes for a wonderful marriage. Come, darling Iphigenia. Come down from the carriage now. Step gently down onto the earth. Women, help her. Give her your arms and bring her down safely. And help me too. Please lend me your arms so that I may get down from this seat of this carriage modestly. Come, my darling daughter, come, Iphigenia, come and stand near me. Let our friends here see how happy you make me. Ah, your father? He's here. Go to him, darling.
Yes, mother. Please let me run to him before you do. Please don't be offended now. Let me hug him tightly against my breast before you do.
My dear Lord Agamemnon, here we are, eagerly obedient to your wish.
Father! Give me a big hug. It's been such a long time. I've missed you so much. Please don't get angry with me.
Yes, quite right, too. Of all my children, you, Iphigenia, have always loved your father the most.
How wonderful it is to see you again, Daddy.
And I'm very pleased to see you too. I've also missed you. You speak for both of us, darling.
Oh, I'm so happy you've brought me here to see you.
Are you, darling? I'm not so sure.
What's wrong? You say you're happy to see me, but your face looks worried.
A king, darling. A general is always worried.
Well then, get rid of this ugly frown from your face that I love so much.
There. Oh, what a joy it is to see you, Iphigenia.
But look at you, Father. Full of joy, and yet tears flow from your eyes.
Yes, dear. Because our separation will be a long one.
Separation? I don't understand, Father. Whatever do you mean? Why? Where do the Phrygians live, Father?
Where, darling? They live at a place, darling, where I wish Paris, Priam's son, never lived.
You're going off on a long journey, Daddy, and you're leaving me behind.
My thoughts exactly, my daughter. For such a young girl, you are so intelligent. I feel so sad.
Then I shall be stupid and make you laugh.
Thank you, my sweet daughter. How could I ever speak the truth now?
Damn all these spears of Menelaos, all these troubles he has caused.
Damn them indeed! As I am damned, Iphigenia, I and many others.
You have been so long here in the harbors of Aulis.
And still something is holding back the expedition.
If only it were possible to take me with you, Father.
You too, Iphigenia. You also have a journey to make. You go to a place where you'll forget about your father.
Will I go on my own or with Mother?
Alone, darling. No mother, no father.
You'll come back right after you're done with Troy, won't you?
Yes, but first I must make a sacrifice here in Aulis.
Of course. We must do what we must do to please the gods.
You'll be able to see the sacrifice. You'll be standing right there in the altar.
Shall we set up choruses around it, Daddy?
You are much happier than me for knowing less than I do. Come, go into my tent now. It's not proper for young girls to be in the public eye for too long. You will be away from me for a very long time. Oh, your poor cheeks. Oh, your poor, beautiful golden hair. What an awful burden Helen and Troy have become for us. I can talk no more. The more I hold you in my arms, the more tears rush to my eyes. Go inside now. And you, dear wife, daughter of Leda, I ask for forgiveness from you for all my tears. Tears that come about from making our daughter a bride to Achilles. Weddings are blessed things, but still very tough on the hearts of the bride's parents. It is a bitter thing for a father to take. A father who has worked hard, but who must send his daughter away to another household.
I am not so insensitive, Agamemnon. I, too, feel the same pain, so I won't be angry with you. I shall be accompanying our girl with the wedding song. Husband, I know the prospective's groom's name, but I know very little about his family or his country.
Sopus, the river god, had a daughter, Aegina.
Who was married to whom, a god or mortal?
Zeus, he married her and they had a son, Ichus, who became the king of the island of Inoe.
Who was then the heir of the house of Ichus?
The heir was Peleus. He married Thetis, Nereus' daughter.
With Zeus's will or against it? With blessings or with force?
Zeus himself gave her to him. He was her lord.
And they were married in the sea?
No, the wedding was held in the sacred valleys of Pelion, where Chiron lives.
That's where the centaurs live.
Yes, that's where all the gods held their wedding feast.
So who raised young Achilles, Thetis or his father?
Neither. Chiron, the centaur, did, so that the child may be brought up not knowing the behavior of evil men.
Huh. Chiron, the wise teacher, and was entrusted by a wiser parent.
Yes. So now you see what sort of man your future son-in-law is.
Sounds ideal to me. Where in Greece does he live?
He lives in Phthia, near the river Apidanus.
And that's where he'll take our daughter? Have you made the prenatal offerings to the goddess yet?
Very soon. We're working on it right now.
What about the wedding feast after the ceremony?
It will take place after I make the sacrifice.
And the feast for us women, where are we going to set it up?
Here at the harbor near our beautiful Greek ships.
The girl deserves better. Still, may the gods be with us.
Wife, do as I say. Listen to me.
What's wrong, I always have.
And I shall, here, where the groom is, I shall...
What, you'll be performing the mother's duties now?
I, with all the Greeks as witnesses, shall give Iphigenia away.
Really? And where will I be at this time?
You'll be back in Argus, taking care of our other daughters.
And leaving my darling behind? But who will carry the bridal torch?
I'll carry the bridal torch.
That's not what the laws of the customs say, and you shouldn't go against them.
And you shouldn't be hanging around here among all the soldiers.
What I should be doing as a mother is to be the one who gives Iphigenia, my daughter, away to her groom. That's what a mother must do.
What you must do is not leave your other daughters alone back at the house.
Our other daughters are looked after well, and they are safe in their quarters.
Listen to me.
Never. No. You look after everything outside of the household, and I shall take care of things within it. Our daughter's marriage is my concern.
I have failed miserably. I have tried desperately to send Klytaimestra away from here, but I failed. Failed at every turn. I shall go to the priest, Calchas, and will find out for me what it is the goddess that will be satisfied with. Though I know it will be something which will bring me misery and a great deal of hard suffering for the rest of Greece. Ah, Menelaos! A wise man must keep in his house a good and faithful woman, or else he should never marry.
And so the Greek ships will sail, stuffed full with men and spears. They will reach the silvery eddies of the Simois River that runs through Apollo's stronghold, the rocky plains of Troy.
They tell me that Cassandra, Apollo's priestess, is there. Cassandra, who shakes her golden hair beneath the green garland of laurel whenever the god grips her with his prophetic gasp.
There they will arrive with their war-whetted spears and shields to wrest Helen from Priam city and bring her back to Greece. Helen, the sister of the heaven-dwelling twins, the Dioscuri.
And they will surround the city Pergamum, all about its stone towers with murderous warmen who will smash the heads of the Trojans, cut through their necks, and tear their city down to its foundations.
And the weeping and wailing of Priam's daughters and of his wife will be bitter and piercing. And Helen, Zeus's daughter, will shed bitter tears too for betraying her husband.
Oh, I hope I'll never see the day, nor should my children, nor my grandchildren should see the day when I suffer the torture that the golden Lydian women will suffer. The wives of those Trojan men who will be suffering when, years later, working at their looms, they'd be talking of this.
Do you hear them, Helen? Listen. Listen to their words. Who will it be, I wonder, who will bring tears to my eyes, drag me by my beautiful hair, and pluck me from my ruined land? Do you hear them, Helen? That's what they'll be saying. And all of this because of you, Helen.
Where is the leader of the Greek army? I know he's around here somewhere. Are we not all wasting our time here by the banks of Epirus? The whole thing is a game played by the heavens. Let me tell you why I am angry. Other men may have different views, but let me give you my own. I have left Pharsalia and Peleus, my father, to come here. I have my army, the famous Myrmidons, wasting their time hanging around the quiet waters of Epirus, getting angrier and more impatient by the minute. Anger and impatience which I must control. They yell at me. Achilles, they say. Why are we wasting our time around here? How much more time do we need to waste on this expedition to Troy? Be a leader. If you really want to do something against Troy, then do it. Or else just take us all back home. Stop waiting for those indecisive sons of Atreus to tell you what to do.
Achilles? Son of Nereid? I just heard your voice from inside of the tent, and I had to come out and greet you.
By the goddess Modesty, who is this exquisite-looking woman I see here?
I am Klytaimestra, Leda's daughter and Agamemnon's wife.
A brief but adequate answer. Still, it's not proper for me to be talking with a woman.
Achilles, stay. Why are you leaving? Come, give me your right hand and let's make this the beginning of a blessed marriage.
What do you mean, madam? Give you my right hand? It would be shameful if Agamemnon saw me touching what's not rightfully mine.
But it is rightfully yours, Achilles. Son of Nereid, you are marrying my daughter.
What? What marriage are you talking about, madam? Are these amazing words the words of a delirious woman?
Oh, it's a common thing for men to be shy when he meets his relatives for the first time and they're talking about marriage.
My lady, I have never proposed to your daughter. Atreus' sons have never talked to me about a marriage.
But Achilles, think again. You find my words strange, but I find yours equally odd.
This is preposterous. Let's think through this together, my lady. Perhaps we're both being deceived.
Could this be right? What a disaster. What a dreadful shame. It seems I'm eagerly preparing for an imaginary wedding.
Ah, someone must be playing games with both of us for some reason. Forget it, madam. Think nothing of it.
Leave now, Achilles. Leave. Goodbye. I feel too humiliated to face you after the lies I've uttered, after the dreadful way I've been treated.
Me too. I also feel ashamed. I am going to go and speak with your husband.
Psst! Achilles, stay. You grandchild of Acus. You too, Leda's daughter, stay.
Who's that? Who's calling through the half-open door? He sounds frightened.
A slave. Fate gave me nothing to be proud of. Are you two alone out there?
Yes. Rest assured we are alone. Now come out of Agamemnon's tent.
Oh, dear fortune, help my brain to save those I love.
Weighty words, old man. They're bound to serve someone well sometime.
Oh, come, old man. Don't waste my time kissing my hand. Tell us what's wrong.
My lady, you know who I am, and just how loyal I've been to you and your children.
I know well that you are an old servant of my house.
And you know, too, that I was part of your dowry when you married King Agamemnon.
Yes. You had come with me to Argos and stayed with me as my servant.
Yes, yes, my lady. So I am more loyal to you than I am to your husband.
Well, tell me what it is, this secret, and what's worrying you so much.
My lady, your daughter, her father, he is about to kill her.
But why? What demon has taken possession of his mind?
The priest, my lady, Calchas, he said that it must be done if the expedition is ever to make it to Troy.
Expedition? Where is the army going? Oh, my poor child. My poor girl. She's about to be slaughtered by the hand of her father?
But the army is heading to Troy, my lady, to Darnus's house in Troy, to bring back Menelaos' wife, Helen.
So my sweet darling must face the horrible fate because of the need to bring Helen back?
Yes, my lady. And now you know the whole thing. Agamemnon, her father, will sacrifice her to the goddess Artemis.
But what about the marriage? What was the point of bringing us up here for a marriage that doesn't...
He tricked you about the marriage with Achilles, my lady, so that you'd be willing to bring her here.
Oh, my darling daughter. You've come to your death, and me also.
Both of you have pitiable fates, my lady. Agamemnon dares to commit a dreadful deed.
But tell me, good servant, where did you hear all this?
He sent me off to bring you a letter, madam, about the first message.
What was the second message? To stop me from coming here or to urge me to do so?
To stop you. By then he had come back to his senses.
But why didn't you deliver that message to me if it was in your hand?
Because of Menelaos, he took it away from me, my lady. He's the cause of all of this torment, madam.
Achilles, do you hear this?
I do, my lady, and I can see it's a horrible thing for you to endure. And I also hear what they've done to me.
They've tricked my daughter to her death by promising her to you in marriage.
Yes, madam, and I too am furious at your husband. This is something I won't tolerate.
You're the son of a god, and I am a mere mortal. There is nothing that I would not do for my darling Iphigenia. Come, son of a goddess, protect us in our terrible misfortune. Help my girl. She is falsely called your future wife. I had put the wedding wreath on her head and brought her here to be your wife, but no, instead of that, I have brought her to her slaughter. They will speak badly of you if you do not help her. They will say that even though you weren't wedded to her, that you were still the poor virgin's promised husband. You were still the man she loved. By your chin, Achilles. By your right hand and by your mother, stand by us, help us. It was your name, Achilles, that has brought us to this misfortune, so protect it now. You know the dread that Agamemnon has brought upon us. You can see it. It's an unbearable, harsh dread, and you can see how I, a woman, have come here and to the camp of soldiers, tough men, brave and ready for war and violence. Come, son of a goddess. Lend us a hand. Help us, or else we are doomed.
Awesome is the power of giving birth. It makes the mother love her child most deeply, and she will defend it with her life.
I know. I have a bloated pride, madam, but I can assure you, I feel the pain of misfortune and the joy of success with a wise temper, a moderate temper. Because I also know that those with a moderate temper lead a wiser life. If the sons of Atreus practice honesty, then I shall obey them. But if they don't, rest assured, madam, that I'll defy them. Agamemnon shall never lay a finger on your daughter, not even to touch her robes. When our esteemed prophet Calchas conducts his next sacrifice, when he will mingle his barley and his holy water upon the altar, he will pay bitterly for it. A prophet? Ha! What is a prophet? A teller of truth one time and a teller of lies 1,000 times, if he's lucky. And then, if his prophecies are found to be false, he vanishes. I'm not talking like this because I'm missing out on this wedding. No, there are hundreds of women who want my wedding bed. I'm angry because King Agamemnon has insulted me so gravely. He has used my name without my permission. He has used it to lure and snare his daughter and to convince Clytaimestra to bring her here, to me, to be presented as my wife. In fact, had he asked me for my permission to use my name for this, I would have given it. I would have given it if the Greeks couldn't get to Troy without my doing so. But now that Agamemnon has insulted me, dishonored me so badly, I feel like a nobody. Madam, let this sword of mine bear witness to what I'm about to say. This sword will have blood on it, even before I leave for Troy. The barbarian blood of the sons of Atreus, of your husband, madam, and that of his brother, if either of them snatches your daughter from my hands. So calm yourself now, Clytaimestra. I know. I'm behaving as if were some god towards you, though I'm a mere mortal.
Your words are worthy of you, Achilles, and of your mother, who is a splendid goddess.
Dear Achilles, how could I possibly express my gratitude to you in a modest way? I am too ashamed to tell you my pitiful story. I know too well that this awful plight is mine and mine alone. You have nothing to do with it. But I will talk. The strong ought to help the weak where they can, even if they have little to do with their plight. Help us, Achilles. When I first thought you were going to be my son-in-law, I had high hopes, vain hopes, as it turned out, but hopes nevertheless. Help us for that reason, and help us too, because if my daughter is killed on the altar, that would be a bad omen for your future marital prospects, an omen you should try to avoid. You began and ended your speech with fine sentiments. My daughter's life hangs on your will. She will be saved if you will it. Would you like her to plead on her knees? But let me try and persuade you and let her stay inside the tent. Let her keep her dignity intact. Those with dignity are respected. Those without are shamed, though defending one's dignity is not always possible.
No, my lady. Don't call your daughter out to see me. Let's not have the common tongues wag against us. Soldiers who have been gathered together away from their chores of their homes and are idle have malice and gossip ready at the tongue. No, it will not be necessary. Please or no please, the result will be the same with me because I have only one thing in mind now. To save you both from this disaster. And this, my lady, this is no lie, believe me.
May joy be with you forever, Achilles. May it be with you always for helping the unfortunate.
Then listen to me carefully, madam, so that we'll achieve our aim.
What would you like me to do? I'll obey your every command.
First, let us try to and bring her father back to his senses.
A cold hope, that one, Achilles. But tell me what I must do.
First, plead with him. Tell him not to kill his daughter. If you cannot persuade him, then come back to me. If your pleas work and they save the girl's life, then my intervention will not be necessary. If this works out well, then the result will be good for you and your family without my getting mixed up in the affair.
Good idea. I shall do as you say. Still, if I fail, where will I find you?
I'll be watching out for you, checking out the situation carefully.
I shall obey your directions. If the gods are just, then they should reward just men like you. Otherwise, why would they bother being just?
What a delightful wedding song was sung when the Lydian flute played on the day that Thetis and Peleus married.
How the dance-loving lyre and the enchanting notes of the reedy flute brought the fair-haired muses up from their home in the Pierian seas to the top of Mount Peleos.
And there it was that Dardanus poured the heavenly nectar into the deep golden cups of the gods.
He is the Trojan Ganymede, the loving delight of Zeus's bed. And there, along the white sands below, Nereus's 50 daughters whirled and weaved and danced in circles and made splendid the wedding of the Nereid.
Ah, but as for you, daughter of Agamemnon,
Even though you were not raised among the sounds of the shepherd's flute, even though you were raised instead by your mother's side, raised to be adorned one day as a bride to one of Icus' descendants, you, my young girl, will be dragged down like a spotted deer to the goddess's altar.
Then the Greeks shall tie a garland around your fair hair and stain your human throat with your own blood.
Where has the strength of your face gone? Where has the strength of the face of modesty or of virtue gone?
Alas, now the strength rests with irreverence, and virtue is now scorned by the mortals.
God's laws are ruled by lawlessness, and mortals don't unite to stand against the wrath of heaven.
I've come out here looking for my husband. He's gone out a while ago, and Iphigenia, in the meantime, has heard how her father is planning to kill her. She is in there, crying and falling from one abyss of misery into another. There he is.
Thank goodness you're out here, latest daughter. I need to tell you some things our daughter should not hear, things that should be best kept away from a bride's ear.
What is it? What is it that I need to hear alone out here?
Look, the sacrificial ceremony is ready. The lustral water, the barley, everything is ready for the holy flame. Now call her out here so she can follow me to the altar.
These are lovely words, Agamemnon. But what of your deeds? What should I call your deeds to make them also sound lovely? Iphigenia? Come out here, darling. You already know your father's intentions, poor love. Come out here and bring your little brother Orestes with you. Cover the baby with one of your cloaks. Obedient child. Here she is. I'll do the talking for both of us.
My child, why are you crying? Lift up your head for me, darling. No, smile for me. Don't bury your face inside your cloak.
Oh, gods. How should I start? What pain should I mention first or second or last? Every one of them is just as unbearable.
What's wrong with you two?
Answer me honestly, husband.
No need to tell me to answer you honestly. Ask me, what is it?
Is it your wish to kill our child?
What? What a dreadful thing to say. What a dreadful thought to have in your mind.
Stop your shouting, just answer my question.
Then make it a reasonable one.
My question is nothing but reasonable. Now make your answer reasonable also.
Holy fate and fortune, holy spirit of mine.
Yes, your fate and mine, and hers too, a black fate for all three of us.
Ah, I'm lost! Someone has exposed my plans.
Yes, I know everything. I know about your plans. I know what you want to do to me. Go on. You groan, but you say nothing. That in itself is an admission. Don't bother making a long speech about it, husband. There is no need.
Yes, I shall say nothing in my defense. How could I? I'd only be speaking lies and adding disgrace to my miserable fate.
Listen then, and listen to me well. Hear my first attack on you. You've married me by brutal force and by murder. You've murdered Tantalus, my first husband, and with even more brutal force, you've torn my baby from my breast and dashed it hard against the ground. I accepted my fortune, and you'll admit that I have always been a good wife to you. Faithful, devoted, temperate in nuptial duties, a good keeper of your house. I was a very good keeper of your house. You felt a great deal of joy when you came in that house, and when you went out of it, you felt a wealthy man. Look there. I bore you this son. A son and 3 daughters, and now you tear one of them from my hands so violently, you're drowning me in misery. Tell me, Agamemnon. Tell me what you will say to someone who asks you why you've killed your daughter. Tell me, Agamemnon, after you have gone away on your expedition, and you have left me here alone in this house. and alone for a long time, our darling daughter's chair empty, her bedroom empty. What sort of heart do you think will be in my beating chest? What sort of welcome do you think you'll receive when you return? We, your children and I, will give you the return that an evil man deserves. By the gods, Agamemnon, don't force me to become evil. I see. So you will sacrifice our daughter? Well then tell me, what will be your prayer? Your plea to the gods be? What will you ask the gods to grant you as your knife cuts through your daughter's throat? A safe return? No. And tell me another thing, Agamemnon. When you return home, when you come back to Argos, will you have the gall to put your arms around any of your children? What a shocking thing that would be. Which one will it be? Which one of your children will dare even look at you? Which one will not wonder if it will be them who is the next one you take to the slaughter? Have you thought of any of this, or do you just go wandering about the army camp, proudly waving about the scepter of a general? Is being a general the only thing in your head? Think about your daughter for once, Agamemnon, and make a fair proposal to your army. Ask them if all they really want to do is go to Troy, and if they do, well then let them draw lots. And that will include their own children also. Let them all see which one should be sacrificed. Why should you be the only one to offer our child as a victim to the altar? Or else let Menelaos kill Hermione, his own daughter. All this is his own doing. His wife's doing, so let him kill his wife's daughter. Why should I, a faithful wife, endure the misery of having my daughter killed while she, a slut, gets to rejoice by having her daughter kept safely at home in Sparta? If I'm right, do the sensible thing. Don't kill our darling.
Listen to her, Agamemnon. Save your child.
Only I could sing like Orpheus, Father. Orpheus, who could charm even the heartless rocks into following him. If I could use such a voice and have everyone charmed, have them convinced to agree with me and follow me, then I would use that voice. But I have no such voice. The only voice I have, Father, my only skill, is here in my tears. And here, Father, I'm giving them to you. I'm giving you my tears. I'm giving you all I have. Here, Father, here is the body of a suppliant. Here is the body that your wife has given birth to. I wrap its limbs around your knees and beg you, please, Father, do not cut my life short. Let me enjoy the sweet light of day, and do not force me to enter the world beneath the earth. I'm your first one, Father. The first one to call you Father. The first one you called daughter. Me, Father. I was the first one to play on your knees. The first one. Remember, Father? You used to ask me, I wondered, my darling, will I get to see you married one day? Married and settled happily in your husband's home? Your life forever blossoming, making me proud of you. And I'd touch your chin, my Father. I'd hang from your beard, Father, like I'm doing now, and say, and what about you, Father? Will I get to see you, Father, an old man visiting me at my house, ready for me to repay you for the hard work in raising me? No, you don't remember these words, Father. I do, but you don't. You've forgotten them, and so now you want to kill me. Please, Father, please, in the name of Pelops and of Atreus, who is your father, I beg you, please don't do it. And I beg you also for my mother's sake, the woman who labored to bring me to life, the woman who is being tortured even now. I beg you, Father. What does my life have to do with the marriage of Paris and Helen, Father? Why has their marriage brought about my death, Father? Come then, Father, turn to me and give me a final kiss. A kiss to remember you by in the underworld, since my words have not convinced you. Spare my young life, Father. Spare me. Here, look, Father. Here, the two of us. One's a baby, the other a grown-up girl. A brother and a sister, both your children, begging you by your beard, pleading with you. That. Up there is my final argument. This light is the sweetest thing that can fill the eyes. The world beneath the earth is a world of nothing. Only fools would pray to go down there. I'd rather live a life full of misery than die a hero's death.
Helen.
You evil Helen. You are the cause of this miserable conflict between the sons of Atreus and their children.
I know well about pity. I know well who deserves it and who does not. And I love my children. This is a dreadful thing for me to do, but it is just as dreadful not to do it. Whether I do or whether I don't, the consequences for me will be the same. You know the size of the army gathered here. The whole of Greece is gathered here, and they all want one thing: to go to the famous city of Troy and tear down her towers. But they can't, my darling daughter. Not unless I obey the priest's demands, and not unless I sacrifice you. It is madness I can't control. If I try to stop them, they will kill us all. They will sail over to our house, to Argus, and kill our children, and the two of us as well. I cannot defy the goddess's demands, my darling. It is for Hellas that I am forced to sacrifice you. Whether I want to do so or not, I must obey Hellas. I am forced to do it. It is Hellas I must obey, darling, not Menelaos. Both of us, darling, both you and I, whether we want to or not, must help Hellas stand free. Hellas's men cannot have their wives stolen from their beds.
Oh, my sweet daughter. How can I endure your death? Your father has gone, my darling, and abandoned you to Hades.
The same song, Mother. The same words tell both our fates. Dear Mother and I. Oh, I've lost the day's sweet light. The sweet light of the sun's rays. It was upon the forests of Trojan Ida, its woods covered thickly by the shroud of snow, where King Priam once abandoned his child boy Paris. How I wish this herdsman, this boy who was brought up to care for cows, had never lived. How I had wished he never lived in that meadow where all the flowers bloom, roses and hyacinths, all those flowers that the goddesses plucked. It was there, at that meadow, that Pallas, Athena, and Aphrodite, whose heart was full of cunning, came with Hera and Hermes, Zeus's messenger. One goddess, Aphrodite, was proud of her insatiable love. Another, Pallas, was proud of her war spear. And the third, Hera, proud of the fact that she shared her bed with Lord Zeus. She was the queen of the gods. It was there, in that meadow, that these three women came before Paris to put an end to their dire contest about which was the most beautiful. Dire to me because it brought about my death. Dear women of Argos, this death, my death, this sacrifice to Artemis, will speed the Greeks to Troy and bring honor to the Greeks. My father, my own father has left me. What a hateful and bitter sight is Helen, abominable creature, godless. And I will be led to a godless slaughter by a godless father. If only this town, if only Aulis had refused to let all these Troy-destined ships enter her harbor, and if only Zeus had not breathed his contrary wind upon Euripides, this wind that stopped this expedition from leaving for Troy. How harsh is the life of mortals! How full of torment is life for us ephemeral creatures! Our fate dictates misery for us all.
What an awful, pitiful fate you must endure, child. I wish you could avert it somehow.
Mother, I see a group of men coming towards us.
Oh, that's Achilles, my darling, the goddess's son. He is the very reason you are here.
Servants, quickly open the doors of the tent so I may hide.
Oh no, child, why run away?
I am ashamed because my marriage has turned out to be such a dismal failure.
Darling, no. The circumstances are too dire now for modesty and for polite coyness. Stay here. This might turn out to be a blessing for us.
Dear unfortunate Klytaimestra.
Unfortunate. Achilles, yes, that is true.
The whole army wants her, your daughter, killed.
The whole army? Does no one speak against it?
I did, but they're shouting at me too. They want me to...
You? What do they want you to do?
They want to stone me to death, Klytaimestra.
But who on earth would dare touch you, Achilles?
Who? The whole Greek army, Klytaimestra, that's who.
The whole Greek army. But what about your own soldiers, Achilles? What about the Myrmidons? Did they not side with you?
They were the worst of them all. They hate me the most.
That's the end, my sweetheart. We are doomed now.
They jeered at me, called me slave to a wedding bed.
Did they? And how did you respond to that?
I told them that if that's what they thought, then they should not kill my intended wife.
Of course.
Her father had promised her to me.
And kept his promise by bringing her here to you all the way from Argos.
But all that shouting, I just couldn't get through to them. I was beaten by all the noise.
Well, that's what a mob is like. Awful.
Still, I'll help you anyway.
You alone? You'll fight them all?
Alone? Can you not see these men in full armor?
May the gods give your heart great strength.
I hope so.
So my darling will not be put to the sword?
Not if I'll have anything to say about it.
Will anyone come to take her away?
Yes, many, and they'll be led by Odysseus.
Was he picked by the army or to do this, or by his own private doing?
He was elected, all right, but he didn't say no.
Elected to commit a murder. How dreadful.
But don't worry. I'll certainly make it hard for him.
So what should I do?
You must grab her and not let go of her.
I'll certainly try that. If it's the last thing I do.
Mummy, please listen. I can see you're angry at your husband, but I think you're wrong about that. There's no point. We can't go on fighting necessity. Our friend here should certainly be thanked for his efforts, but we should be careful not to put his life in jeopardy against the army with no advance in our predicament. Let me tell you my thoughts, Mother. It's obvious there's no escaping my death now. So now, I want to die nobly. I don't want anyone to think despicable things about me. Let me die in clear, unblemished glory. Mummy, no, listen to me. Listen, Mummy, and see if I'm not right. All of the eyes of Greece are upon me. Her strength depends upon me. Her expedition to Troy and its destruction depends upon me. The future of our Greek women rests on my actions. The barbarians will no longer abduct them and carry them off from our wealthy shores, once Helen's abduction by Paris has been avenged. My death will bring about all this liberation, and my good name will live into eternity. People will talk about how I saved Greece. And then there's also this. What right do I have to love my life so much? You haven't given birth to me simply for your own sake. No, you brought me to life so that the whole of Greece may rejoice. How can I insult all those countless brave warriors and their shields, all their myriads of men clasping hard at the oars? Men with courage enough to attack our enemy and die for our country, to clear her name. How can I insult them all, insult their efforts by trying to save myself? One single life. Would that be just? What would my excuse be, Mother? And then there's yet this. We are asking this good friend of ours here to fight with the whole of the Greek army and be killed. For what? For a mere woman? No, Mother, no. I'd rather see the death of 1,000 women than that of a single man. A goddess, Mother, the goddess Artemis has called for my body. How could I, a mortal, go against that? I could not. I shall give it to her for the sake of Greece. Come, all of you, prepare my sacrifice. Soldiers, go and tear down Troy. Let that act be what I'll be remembered by. Let that stand for me in the place of the children and the marriage that I could have had. Let that be my fame. Let the Greeks win, Mother, not the barbarians. We are a free people, whereas they are slaves.
You're a brave girl, Iphigenia. What an awful fate the gods have delivered to you.
Yes, it would have been some god's blessing had I married you, daughter of Agamemnon. Greece is lucky to have you as one of her daughters. Your words are good, worthy of our country. You have chosen logic and good intentions to that of continuing a war against fate and against necessity. You are indeed a brave, noble person, Iphigenia, and for that reason, I want you to be my wife. I want to marry you, to take you to my home and to protect you. Think again, Iphigenia. Death is a dreadful thing.
I'm not afraid to say this in front of everyone. Helen, Tyndareus' daughter, has caused wars and the endless spilling of blood because of her body. Let hers be the last one to do so. My friend, neither killed nor be killed because of me. Let me, instead, save Greece, if I can.
No, Iphigenia. You are indeed a noble soul, and you leave me speechless and unable to argue against your views. The decision is yours, and it is a brave one. But listen to me, Iphigenia. You might still change your mind. Once you see the knife approaching your neck, you might well call for my help. I shall be there, very near the altar.
Mother, you're crying. But why? Come, say something.
Yes, I am crying. There is great reason to cry. My misery is too great.
Come now, Mother. Don't make me lose heart. Shh. Listen to me.
All right. Speak. Speak and I will listen.
Promise me, Mummy. Promise me you won't even cut a strand of your hair in mourning, nor wear black.
What? Can I not mourn my own daughter's loss?
But there is no loss, Mummy. My life has been saved, and you will carry the honor of my deed wherever you go.
But you're saying that I cannot mourn your death, my darling.
No, Mother. I want no one to lose tears over my grave. There will be no grave, no tomb, no tombstone.
All right. You've persuaded me with wise words. I shall do as you say.
I am a fortunate girl, Mother. I shall serve Greece.
What shall I tell your little sisters?
Wish them joy from me, and take good care of my little brother Orestes. Bring him up to be a man.
Here, take him into your arms for the last time. Look at him for the last time.
Darling, Darling little brother. You've done all you could to help your big sister, haven't you?
What shall I do for you in Argos?
Do not hate Daddy. My daddy, your husband.
No. What he's done to you will cost him a great deal of trouble.
Mother, he will sacrifice me for the sake of our country, for Hellas, against his will.
And he will achieve this by trickery. Vile trickery, unworthy of his father Atreus.
My hair. Mother, who will come with me when they come and drag me by my hair?
I'll come with you.
No.
I'll be there.
Mother, no, that's not a good idea.
Darling, you're going?
Yes, Mother. Going forever.
And you will abandon your mother like this?
Stop! Mother, no! I will not have you crying. You, girls, raise a hymn now to the goddess Artemis, Zeus's daughter, for the sad honor she has asked me to endure. And let the women of Argos, the daughters of Danaus, hold a silence of reverence. Let someone go and prepare the sacrificial basket, and may the blessed fire burn high with the purifying barley. And may my father work well his right hand upon me at the altar. My sacrifice will bring about a victory for the Greeks and secure their safety. Now come, take me away to the altar. I, the destroyer of Priam's city and its people. A garland for my head, a garland for my hair, some holy water for the sacred basins. Dance, girls, dance around Artemis's altar. Dance around the temple of the blessed goddess. If I must, then I shall wash away her oracle with my blood and with my sacrifices upon her altar. No, Holy Mother, no, I will not shed any tears now. It is improper for tears to be shed during the holy rites. Come, friends, sing with me in praise of the goddess whose temple faces Caucasus, the place where the spears of war are waiting for me in anger, there in the narrow harbor of Aulis. My country, my Pelescia, my Mycenae, my home, my mother.
That is the city of Perseus you're calling to, a city built by the Cyclops.
Pelescia, you have raised me to be the shining light of Greece. I do not fear my death.
No, your name will never die.
Glorious day, glorious sun, Zeus's own light. I'm leaving for another world. From now on, I will live there in that other world. Goodbye, sweet light.
And there goes the girl.
There goes the destroyer of Troy and her people.
There goes the girl with the garlands on her hair and holy water upon her head.
There goes the girl who soon stained the altar of the murderous goddess with the gushing blood of her beautiful throat.
Go, young girl. The Greek warriors are waiting for you, anxious to start off for Troy.
Friends, let us sing our prayer to Artemis. Let us pray for a good fortune. Oh, dear goddess, blessed Artemis.
Let Agamemnon place a crown upon the head of Greece, and let him be crowned in turn.
Let Agamemnon's name live forever in glory.
Clytaimestra, daughter of Tyndareus, come out here quickly. Come out and hear my news.
I hear you. Here I am. Your voice has horrified me. I'm shaking with fear. Are you here to add to the mountain of dread I have endured already?
No, my lady, indeed no. Rather, I have an amazing story to tell you about your daughter. A real miracle.
Go ahead then, speak. Don't waste my time.
My dear lady, I shall. You'll soon hear it all. That is, if my brain doesn't falter and make my tongue trip over its words. We took Iphigenia to the forest of Zeus's daughter, Artemis. It's a meadow full of bright and beautiful flowers. The moment we got there with your daughter, all the Greek soldiers gathered around us. Agamemnon saw his child on her way to her slaughter and immediately groaned with horrible pain. Still, the girl came up close to him and said, "Daddy, here I am, ready to do as you say. Come, take me to the altar of the goddess. Sacrifice me. It is the wish of the heavens. On my part, I wish you all happiness, and may you return to the land of your fathers victorious. Let no Greek touch my body with his hand. I offer my neck quietly and with no fear for the knife." That's what she said, and every man there was amazed at the bravery and the virtue of the young girl. Then Calchas, the priest, took out a sharp sword out of his sheath and placed it in a basket made of gold. Then he placed a garland upon the girl's head and sprinkled holy water on her hair. Then Achilles, Peleus' son, took the golden basket and the holy water in his hands and ran around the goddess's altar, chanting, "O Artemis, O daughter of Zeus, O killer of wild beasts, O goddess who lets her brilliant light roll along through the gloomy darkness of the night, accept the sacrifice which we, the Greek army, and Agamemnon offer to you. Accept the pure blood from this girl's lovely neck. Accept it and grant us a safe journey. Accept it and let our spears sack the tall towers of Troy." The whole army and both the sons of Atreus stood there in silence, their eyes downcast. Then the priest took hold of the sword and after a few words of prayer began searching the girl's neck, looking for the best place to strike. All of us, we all heard the awful thud of the striking sword, but when we looked up, we could not see the girl anywhere. She had vanished, my lady, gone. Then the priest lets out a huge roar, and the whole army roared with him as they saw the most unbelievable sight, a sight that must have been sent by heaven, a sight that had made them question their very eyes. There, my lady, upon the ground, lay a large animal, a beautiful stag, letting out its last breath, its blood spattered about, saturating the goddess's altar. You just can't imagine Calchas's joy, madam. He spoke and he said, "Chiefs of the Greek army, can you see this offering? The goddess would much rather have this animal offered to her than the girl, so that her altar would not be defiled by shedding the blood of a human. She has accepted this offering gladly and has granted us a safe journey for our expedition against Troy." And when the animal was thoroughly burned in the flames of the god of fire, Hephaestus, and when the holy rites were completed, Calchas prayed for our safe return. Then Agamemnon came to me and ordered me to come here and tell you what fate the gods have granted your daughter. It is a glory that will never wither in the minds of the Greeks. Let me make it absolutely clear, my lady. I was there and I saw it with my own eyes. This girl is with the gods. She has flown away to the heavens. The gods do strange things, madam, things that baffle us mortals, but they save those they love. Your daughter, my lady, has today seen both death and life.
What joyful news that messenger has brought you, my lady.
He said your daughter is still alive, my lady.
And living with the gods!
Darling Iphigenia, sweet daughter, which one of the gods has stolen you?
Ah, here comes the king himself, my lady. Here comes Agamemnon.
He'll be able to confirm the messenger's words.
Wife, we should consider ourselves very much blessed. Our daughter now lives among the gods. Now you must take with you our newborn son and go from here and go back home. The Greek army is getting ready to set sail. Goodbye, then. It will be a long time before I return from Troy. A long time before I greet you again. May all things turn out well for you.
Agamemnon, son of Atreus, begin now your journey to Troy, and may it be a happy one.
Come back to us once you've taken from her city her fairest spoils.
Wonderful. And thank you all so much for joining us. We are about to get into the Q&A section. So if you have any questions for the artists about the show, about the process, about the collective itself, please just type them into the Facebook comments if you are joining us on Facebook. Before we get into that, two things. I would like to thank those who have given to our tip jar so far. Bruce Jimenez, Ben Pasikoff, Eduardo Rivera, and Aaron Edelstein. Thank you all so much for your contribution. Remember, if you would like to support us, you can hit us on Venmo at noexit-tc. 20% of the tips this week will be going to the Zakat Foundation of America. The other 80% will be split equally among all contributing artists who take part in this. Before we get into the Q&A, I would really love for all of the artists to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about themselves.
Hi, my name is RJ Christian. I portrayed Agamemnon this evening. I use he, him, his pronouns. I am going into my senior year and at NYU studying vocal performance with a concentration in musical theater. And this summer I've done more classical theater than I've ever done in my whole life. And so I fancy myself a classical theater actor now, which is amazing. It's a great opportunity. I also am a composer and lyricist. I've written, I think now running on 5 full-length musicals at this point. I was a finalist for Taylor Louderman's Write Out Loud song contest, and one of my songs, when things open up again, one of my songs is gonna be featured at 54 Below, so like, woo! And I'm also next week? But soon I'm also in Project Sing Out, which is a big concert supporting theater education started by Haley Kilgore, who was on Broadway as T Moon in Once on This Island. And I sing a song in that concert. There's so many Broadway stars in that, and it's gonna be so big. I'm gonna share it all over my social media, so follow that. And I'm so blessed to be a part of this collective. And I could do a million shows here and feel like I've created new worlds, because I have. Thank you.
My name is Ben Pratt. I go by Ben Delamarins on all social media, artistically, so on and so forth. He, him, his pronouns. I have been in the city for about 2 years. I graduated from University of Tennessee with a major in theater and then also communications. I've also gone to Shakespeare and Company, Circle in the Square, all that kind of stuff. I'm a actor, singer, dancer, musician, composer, man of many hats, and so on and so forth. Right now, I'm just working on my own musical. So, yeah.
So hello, my name is Heidi Tolson. I played Clytaimestra tonight. I use she, her, or they, them pronouns. This is my 4th engagement with No Exit Theater Company, and it has just been such a pleasure. About me, I am a actor, singer, performer person. I've lived in New York City for about 2 years now. Actually, my 2-year anniversary was earlier this week, so woo. I am a West Virginia University BFA acting graduate of 2018. Prior to the pandemic, I had done a couple of off-Broadway engagements in the city. I was a singer at the Serving You Sondheim series at the Green Room 42. And now I'm trying to learn piano as a quarantine activity, but I really just want to make a shout out real quick because I am so stoked to be a part of this wonderful collective. And during such strange times that we're going through right now, the opportunity to create is soul food and collaborate. That's me.
Hi, my name is Nicole Pelini. She, her, hers pronouns. I read for Iphigenia. I graduated from Florida Atlantic University with my BFA in theater performance, and I have been based out of Brooklyn since then. Mostly do readings, helping out friends, and trying to get back to Brooklyn currently, because right now I'm in Nebraska. So, yeah.
Hi, my name is Noah Barson. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I played Achilles. I graduated from Emerson College in 2019 with a BFA in musical theater. For the last year, I've been touring all across the United States and across Canada with Paw Patrol Live: The Great Pirate Adventure. It was so much fun, very rewarding, and now I can add puppeteering to my resume, which is really nice. I'm an actor, a singer, a mover, and a songwriter. I have written a few songs. I accompany myself with guitar. I also arrange a cappella music, and I'm currently working with two very close friends of mine from Emerson on writing my first musical, which I'm really excited about. Yeah, I've had an amazing time working with the collective. This is my second show with them, and I love the opportunity to be creative during this pandemic, but also just the social aspect of being able to be a part of a group that's so connected and so loving and kind and so talented. It really like boosts morale during this time. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Daniel Cabrera. I use he, him, his pronouns. I played the old man tonight. Right now, the last thing that I did, we finished this web series called Dead Enders. You can find it on YouTube, and we shot that during quarantine. It's like a zombie webisode thing, which is really cool and timely, I guess, if coronavirus was that. You can learn more about me, see my resume, headshots, and projects at danielcabreraactor.com. And yeah, it's my second time with no exit, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Hello. My name is Claire Tumey. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I played Messenger. And I am an actor, singer, playwright. I'm a mover. I like that. I'll say I'm a mover, sure. Based out of Brooklyn, New York. I've been living in the city for a year after getting my BFA in theater performance from the University of Evansville. Before the pandemic, I performed with the cast of Q2 at Joe's Pub as a benefit for Trinity Haven, Indiana's first group home for homeless LGBTQ plus youth. And I also appeared in This Is About My Mother at New York Theater Festival's Winterfest 2020. And right now, I am so happy to be working with No Exit Theater Company. I did Hamlet with them a couple weeks ago. And yeah, just happy to be here. This is my acting outlet, I suppose, right now. So, and it's good to have fun.
Hi, my name is Tessa Ramirez Keough. She, her, they, them pronouns. I was your swing tonight. So I'm a singer, dancer. Sorry to show off to all the movers out there, but I'm giving you all my love. And performer, artist, filmmaker, and activist. So before I was in quarantine, I did some off-Broadway shows with Right Act Repertory and in the Broadway Bound Theater Festival. And then now that I'm quarantining with my family in Arizona, I am working on my own screenplay, and I am doing activist work with the Sunrise Movement.
And then I'm Daisy. I was your technical director this evening. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm generally a stage manager and producer based out of New York, but I'm quarantining in the San Francisco Bay Area. and who knows when I'll be back, but that's beside the point. But yeah, I've gotten to do some stage management off Broadway, and I graduated from Marymount Manhattan College just about a year ago now with a degree in stage management and producing. And I do a lot of grant writing, typically for Honest Accomplice Theater, a company that works with exclusively women and trans people. So yeah.
Hello, my name is Ben Natan. I had the pleasure of directing all of these wonderful actors. I am also the founder and co-artistic director of No Exit Theater Collective. I am a classical theater actor. I've worked with Shakespeare Theater of New Jersey and Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival. I have acted off Broadway and off Broadway. I am not a mover, famously not a mover. I have danced before, but I wouldn't call myself a dancer either. Yeah, that is who I am. I graduated from NYU in 2018. I've been acting ever since. I am usually based out of New York, but given the circumstances, I am in the beautiful state of Pennsylvania. So moving on to the Q&A, actually, right before we get to the Q&A, I do want to thank a few people who have donated to our tip jar since in the last 15 minutes. Bea Young, thank you very much. Minwei Lin, thank you very much. And Dominic Pelini, thank you so much. Remember, if you'd like to support our tip jar, you can give at noexit-tc on Venmo. 80% of the tips will be split equally among the contributing artists. So now we will go to the questions, see if we have any questions. We have a question from Minwei. First of all, bravo on a gorgeous performance. That's all of you. So, pat yourselves on the back. And what was it like creating a live theater performance through Zoom? Does anybody want to take that? Any of our more seasoned No Exit actors? Some of you have been with the 3, 4. Daniel?
It's interesting and fun and completely different because it's not like film, it's not like theater, it's a mixture of both. And because obviously our rehearsal time is 1 week, so it's really, to get off book is almost not possible. So you really have to just trust that what your first instinct is your best instinct, and oftentimes it really actually is. So it's just that it's like a lesson in getting back to basics as an actor, of just going. You only have a week, don't overthink it, just read whatever you're feeling is probably right, and if it's not, someone will tell you. And yeah, just have fun with it. That's mostly it, because you really don't have room for judgment, or you don't have space, and everyone is kind of under this understanding that this is brand new to everyone. Not a lot of people have so much experience like creating content for Zoom, especially live content. So yeah, I guess that's a lot of rambling to answer that, but yeah.
And I would say, even in and of itself, it's very interesting to dive into and develop in any kind of new form. So there's an inherent value in seeing what these classic plays are like performed on Zoom, because it speaks to a massive element of our culture in general, but especially during a pandemic, which is that internet communication that has exploded and become a huge part of our day-to-day life. So just looking at the little small intricacies of communication that happen because we're performing over like a very separated medium is very interesting, and it affects the acting. So you get to learn something new about how you perform. It's great, really cool.
It's definitely a new frontier. It's a masterclass on multitasking. That's been something that I've gotten much better at, because like the setup for it, you're your own tech crew, you're your own actor, you're like, so like I've got this set up on my bed in my bedroom right now. And like that's a curtain in front of a door. And you're like reading, trying to check in so that you can act with your other scene partners. So it's a new frontier, but it's a good one, and it's been really cool and really rewarding. That's it.
So to talk a little bit about what No Exit Theater Collective is, and people can chime in because obviously my experience is different than that of all of my friends here. So we started a few months ago when I was sitting on a couch, as I have been doing a lot of in quarantine, and I was reading a play, and it was a rather good play, but I did not like reading it by myself. I had to go onto Facebook, make a group, invite all of my friends that I've acted with or been seen in shows or heard about doing shows, and I said, let's just read plays together. We'll pick a play, we'll rehearse for a week, and we'll put it in front of a bunch of people. And it evolved. We've been doing this for weeks now, and it's become a great community that's provided a respite from the stress of the pandemic and the quarantine, and also given an opportunity for us to work with completely new people. We have happy hours every other week as a sort of, social support system for so many of us. A lot of us are by ourselves in quarantine. People are even starting to share actor housing things in our little Facebook group. So it's become this wonderful Swiss Army knife of a community where we can support other theater artists, while also creating an outlet for them to try new characters, to possibly write something, to direct something. And we've only been doing this for, I don't know, I think it's been 3 months at this point. And there are so many more people who've been wanting to join and wanting to evolve what we're able to do. And I know that we have a lot of things coming in the upcoming weeks that are really, really exciting. And I'm looking forward to sharing them with folks. If people are interested in following along with what we're doing at No Exit, they can follow us on Facebook, No Exit Theater Collective. They can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at No Exit TC. And we have a Substack now, which is like a newsletter or a central publication for the collective, which is it's noexit.substack.com. There will be weekly newsletters now about what we're doing, and potentially interviews with actors and other contributing artists. So that's a little bit of a spiel. Let's see if we have any more questions. Oh, another thank you to Denise Marshall for a donation. Thank you so much, Mom. I appreciate it. It doesn't look like we have any more questions. So before we sign out, does anybody want to talk a little bit about their experience at No Exit at large? Nicole, yeah.
I just want to say that I was completely new to No Exit. Like, I know some of you guys from a camp I went to when I was 16 years old. And I just felt so included and like accepted in this group. And there's never been like some like weird, awkward moment. And I invited some people to come watch the show tonight that like will potentially be a part of this group. So I just like want anyone that are like on the edge about like submitting for shows. Like it's a very inclusive environment. So.
Yes, and that's important to bring up. We are always looking to add more people to our community. So if you're watching this and you love it, please, get into contact with one of us, and we can add you to the group, and we can start putting you into readings and everything like that. The more the merrier. Anybody else want to talk about their experience? Noah, yeah.
So I'll admit when I got cast in my first No Exit show, which was Much Ado About Nothing, I was so like incredibly nervous and anxious because I've only really ever done musicals my entire life. I've really barely had experience with plays, never done a Shakespeare production or a classics production. And from the first rehearsal, any anxiety I had about it was like put to rest completely. It just, everyone in the collective is so talented, and it never felt like I really didn't belong as a member of the crew. It always felt like, oh, I'm actually doing okay with this. I'm actually keeping up with these amazingly talented people who may or may not have done Shakespeare before. And I just love, like Nicole said, I love that amazing inclusiveness that comes with the group, because you never feel like you're starting from square one. You all feel like you're sort of in the same place together, which is really nice.
We try to, as best as we can. I don't have a ton of directing experience prior to this collective. We have two other directors. My co-artistic director, Zainab, she directs shows. She just directed a wonderful production of Midsummer Night's Dream. And also Caitlin McCain joined us as a resident director. She's unbelievable. She was also in our production of Hamlet as Ophelia. She directed Twelfth Night a month ago. Oh my goodness, it was a month ago now. And we all operate under a similar directing philosophy. We have different directing styles, but we are here to foster a democratic, creative space. We want to empower the actors. We want to empower the artists to bring their voice to characters. We try very hard not to dictate or impress our beliefs about whatever the show is. We want to get information from the actors about the show. And I think what that does is it not only empowers actors, but it also creates really unique storytelling. And I think I can proudly say that with all of the readings that we've done, each of them is absolutely unique to this group and could not be replicated because of the voices that these actors are bringing to our readings, which I'm so happy to have. Looking now to see if there are any more questions from the Facebook stream. If anybody has other no exit thoughts, feel free to share. So we have a question from Rodolfo Soto. What went into choosing this play in particular, and what specific ways did the actors prepare when doing public Zoom readings of dense texts in short periods of time? Is there anything you change now that you can look back, even though you'd only be looking back a few minutes? So I can talk about the play selection process. So we have a document on our artists Facebook group that people can submit plays to, whatever play they want to do. We try to do public domain works because it is easier to get access to them, whereas a lot of other works we would have to get rights and we would have to pay for it, which we don't have the capital to do yet, maybe, who knows. And that's why we've been doing a lot of Shakespeare. We did an Ibsen play early, a few months ago, and now this is our first foray into Greek work. We had a couple submissions to do Greek work, and Iphigenia is such a brilliant play that we decided to go with it. And I searched the internet for good translations, and I came upon this really beautiful translation that we performed for you tonight by George Theodoridis. And I reached out to him, spoke with him. He was extremely gracious about letting us use this, and had so many wonderful things to say about the text that I brought into the rehearsal process. Do any of the actors want to speak about the actual process of reading the dense text?
I'll say, like, I had a personal preference. I enjoyed going through acting a Greek text as opposed to a Shakespearean text, because the process of translation kind of, in a way, permits you to then bring something unique or special to the voice of the text. So it's a medium that, you know, you kind of have to, what are the words I'm trying to say? It allows you to, like, find new areas of your own voice that are really unique and special because they're, you know, thousands of years old.
For me, I find that since you, like, the kind of last step when going on a text is memorizing it and making it very personal to you in that way, like in your body. But we're reading it in real time while we're going through it. A little trick that I've been doing is I like write like holy shit, like exclamations in the script, so I can kind of be like reminded of those like, oh snap moments, and I might italicize things and like underline it, but stupid silly things to just kind of remind yourself to be active in a text since you are reading.
Wonderful. Yeah, because we only work on we have a rehearsal process of about 3 or 4 days, and each rehearsal is 2 hours long, save for our tech rehearsal, which was 3 hours long. So it's not a lot of time to go through and have lots of conversations and really flesh out who these characters are. There's a lot that is up to the actors, and my job as the director has been to facilitate and try to like coalesce a coherent mix of all these different interpretations. And obviously my job was very easy from the get-go, because upon our first reading, I was like, okay, we're good. This cast is great. It's going to be fine. So once we already have that, you just chisel away at small details. And as a director, I take notes every night. I try to send them out, have conversations with the actors outside of rehearsal. And that's where the character development gets into. But it's quite amazing that the actors are able to develop the character so quickly, and it speaks to what a craft this is, and which is really special. And I felt that as a director, or someone who is a novice director rather for myself, I felt like I've been able to hone my own process, and watching other actors feel like I've probably improved as an actor by watching them. So that's been a gift for me. I'm going to check if we have any more questions. So it doesn't look like we have any more questions. So thank you all so much for joining us tonight. It was an absolute pleasure to tell this story to you. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at NoExitTC, on Facebook, No Exit Theater Collective, and you can support us on Venmo at NoExit-TC. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we will be joining you in another 2 weeks with another phenomenal reading. Please stay tuned for that and have a wonderful night.